Game James score 36, and this is Big Games BS brought to you by Den Media Group, presented by thehumidor.com. Thehumidor.com is a go-to website for all things tobacco related. Go to checkout, type in Sports Den. You will get 20% off, and if you spend over $150, you get free shipping. Just don't really know how else to tell you, but that is the best way to go about going there. Inside of the world's greatest cigar lounge, Goodfellas cigar bar. It's like Cheers with a mob twist. Everybody knows your name. Check out, we'll have some specials for March Madness. Friday night is when it gets lit in here. We do our we have the live band. You probably want to get here by like 6-ish because it'll get chunky. It gets chunky. My boy Cheese will be out here doing his thing with the soul food, all that stuff. Quick housekeeping notes: like we've been getting a lot more engagement. But I'm gonna do I might do this again on Monday if we don't accomplish it. But it'll be obviously the number will go down. So what I need you guys to do who are listening to this on Facebook, much appreciated, or listening to this on Twitter, much appreciated. I need you to, or listening to this the replay on SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, much appreciation. But I need you to go to YouTube. I need you to subscribe. I need you to comment. If we can get, I know it's not going to happen, but if we can get 280 subs somehow between, we've done an hour 20 the last two shows. So between an hour 20 minutes, we'll go ahead and do a live show, and I'll bump it up from 200 to 280 is what the giveaway will be. So, yeah, you can try to make that happen. While you're subbing, I would like for you to, consider becoming a member at $3.99. We're trying to get 30 members before the spring game. We'll have a nice little get together for anybody who comes to the spring game. Obviously the membership has its perks, a bunch of other different things that go along with being a member. There's the $3.99 membership all the way up to the $999. If somebody's paying that, then I'm giving away some trade secrets on that shit. Like I'm giving you a piece of the sports den if you're like that high. But $99 level, there's all kinds of cool giveaways and hangouts. Just go check out. I think we should be we got the thing with if you wanted the Pepsi Cola CEO. I know you said you couldn't get the slowed down version.
Yeah, I don't have it on the computer, but I'll have it up on.
Okay. And then we still got to do the taste.
Those are gonna. If you want them as reels or a full thing.
Oh, it can be either real. It don't matter.
They're all shot vertically,
so they can't be a reel.
No, they're good for real.
Oh well, then nah, we just make them all. We just put a whole bunch of fucking reels up there. Like it was just for the. But either way is if you want to see, you could have met the CEO of Pepsi Cola. Because you would have been in there, I might have made you hold the camera, but you'd have been right in there with me and vibing. You couldn't have done any worse than what's the girl's name? Christian. Christian did. While Christian is gorgeous, Christian is an amazing esthetician or whatever the people put the makeup artist. She's not the highest grade of weed in this. She put the whole.
Was she using an iPhone?
Yeah, she was using an iPhone. Luckily, she was using Sheena's iPhone because my iPhone was charging. Luckily, Sheena's iPhone can't get but like two seconds of fucking storage because it's full, and she needs to go get the largest iPhone. So we lucked up and it shut down, and we had to use his assistant's iPhone, and it worked out for us. So I'm good with that. So start telling these people I ain't sharing shit unless you share my stuff. Then that's what I'm gonna do, because that person's got more followers than me, so I'm gonna do that. But anyways, getting into I think something that a new twist that I like, especially if we have to do more shows, means we got to get more content. There's questions. I listen to a few shows on my drive in the morning. Nobody does it quite as good as the Breakfast Club, in my opinion. You might not like Charlamagne and DJ Envy, but I like those guys. I think they do a really, really good job in asking questions, specific questions, especially in interviews. And I like to listen to it because it gets me mental reps. But they do, like, ever so often, they've kind of gone in this direction sometimes where, all right, man, we ain't got to do all. You ain't got to be that secure in your manhood. We got to be. But people joke like that. People joke like that. People always, I don't want people to realize. I think that people, what you must realize is, before you judge me for the things that I say, I have one of the most diverse friend groups that you'll ever meet. We have regular ass Black Americans. We got a ton of Caribbean Americans. I didn't even know where the fuck Guyana was until I became an adult. I've got tons of white people that I'm around all the time. My white friends joke like that. I always tell them, hey, man, listen, man, let's keep our dicks out of the fucking jokes. Like one of the first, not first encounters, but like, I was coaching at Ponte Vedra, and this is when I realized people joke differently. Like, we were at a coaches convention. We were talking about swingers somehow. We were eating pizza. I was enjoying my fucking deep dish pizza. And then the head coach at the time comes and says, it's all good. You want to be a swinger and everything, and you're going to enjoy it till you look to your left and you see somebody looking like James over there brailing the shit out of your wife. And I'm like, whoa. Whoa. That's way too comfortable. I don't know. Like, all the men at this table, and you pick me as the guy that you're imagining now. I was all uncomfortable the next season. I'm like, is this man really?
Were you the only black guy?
It was my boy Mario was the other black guy. I could have picked, but Mario was older, was bald. But Mario was part of No Limit. Like Mario has all the same qualifications that I got. But me, the big black guy with dreads, like, he's like, man, you don't want nobody over there looking like James over there fucking the shit out of your wife. Like, dog, what the fuck? Why my dick gotta always be the butt of all this? Gotta be in everybody else's joke. But I say that to say is that I understand the jokes. I understand the humor. They come in and they had a great joke today. A great question. The question was, how many bodies is too many bodies? So I want y'all to think about this, because children aren't supposed to be watching this show. Anyway, I don't let my own sons watch it. But how many bodies is too many bodies? And I'm curious in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Man or woman?
For a man. For a man. A woman, I don't want to be... that's dangerous territory. We only got 5 from the statistics. It only says 5% of women watch the show on the goddamn YouTube. So I don't want to, we're trying to increase that. So women, you can give us your opinion on how many bodies is too much for a man. Charlamagne said 50%. I mean, not 50%, excuse me, said 50. That's a lot of bodies on a man. And I have friends being like, 50, that's it. That's only like, they're like, let's just say from 8, you start having sex at 18 to 40, that's less than 2 bodies. That's 2 bodies a year.
Are you never in a relationship?
And that's what I was like. I'm like, now, I'm not going to disclose, because that's not what this is about. As I tell people, I'm only on wax having sex with 2 women. So, like, that's the only thing you can feasibly say, because there was an outcome that came out of that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And people are like, James, you're lying. But just before we get into the sports of the stuff, I like to argue data, right?
You stopped counting at 12.
You stopped counting when you were 12 or after you had 12 women? After you had 12 women, because that's these days you never know, man. There's something called grooming and all that. I don't know, man. But like, not you saying you're messing with a 12, but I do know some people who've been active since they were 12 years old. But now they call that. In my day, they just said you were being fast. Now they call it molestation. I mean, hey, listen, the woke culture, all that stuff. But bottom line, according to 2011 to 2015 CDC data, women between the ages of 25 and 44 had a median of 4.2 sexual partners, while men in that age group had a median of 6.1 sexual partners. These are medians, not average. These medians are based on the number of lifetime sexual partners among sexually experienced men and women, meaning they don't take into account people who have had zero sexual partners. There is a lot of Americans who have not had sex. There's a growing number of virgins, which is cool. Like I don't know what that's like. It's been a very long time for me. But my point in all of this, like they said, 2017 survey of 2,180 people in it from U.S. to Europe said women had a lifetime average of 7 sexual partners, men an average of 8. It's looking like every time they do a study, some go higher, some go like, this isn't going to help the conservatives, but the consonants, they fucking a little bit more over there. But it's not it's nowhere near as much as what people say. 72% ages 15 to 19 in a 2014 study from data from 2006 to 2010. 72% of women and 71% of men had 0 to 1 partners, meaning they were virgin or they were very little experience. 17% of women, 17% of men had 2 to 4 partners. 20 to 24, 35% had 0 to 1, 29 had 2 to 4 women. 23 had 5 to 9, 13 had 10 or more. So only 13% of women in their 20s is really living like that. Among men, 32% 0 to 1, 25% 2 to 4, 20, basically even numbers out. Numbers don't really change as much when you continue to get older. Bottom line is, if we were being honest, the vast majority of us aren't fucking. That's why the world is the way it is. It's the very few are doing the most fucking. And that's why people are frustrated. And even in some of your stats, because I don't want to get into the relationship podcast shit, because I think that's the problem with the world, is that too many people are listening to stupid people. But at the same time, let's take the numbers and not our others. The generalities aren't necessarily your reality. So like, you may be in a world where you get a chance to see a lot of people who have a lot of sex, but that doesn't mean that's what's up for the rest of the world. Or just like I always tell people, I grew up without a pop. That was my reality. The statistics say most black fathers are very involved. That's just what the statistics say. But anyways, though, just if you're going through the comments and you're listening, I'm curious. Is 50 a lot? Is 50 doable? I just think I like hoes. So, I mean, like, I need you. It's kind of like your resume. Like, I need to know you got experience. I need to know I need to know what's on the menu. It helps ease confusion. But, maybe that's not your cup of tea. Because the thing is that the more bodies you have, the more exposed you are to STDs. And those aren't cool. Like, nobody wants to get burnt. So, speaking of the more you're out there, the more you're exposed. Tom Brady, there's talks of him coming back. And Dove claiming, it's probably not how you say his name, Tom Brady might not be done after all with his playing in the NFL, according to the Rich Eisen show, who talked to people in Indy. Folks are saying keep an eye out on Miami. And Tom Brady, again, he's bringing experience and he's dropping bars. And I don't have this experience, but I have kids. And once you kind of get out of that life, man, so this is what he says. Anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. My man says he's busy. He's busy being a dad. I don't believe it. I plan on seeing Tom Brady because one thing I've adopted in his life is MFTK philosophy. and he has 2. And a guy continuing with the theme of how many sexual partners is too many sexual partners. I want to make sure I'm accurate before I do this. Shawn Kemp has been in the news, and Shawn Kemp has 7 children from 6 different women. AKA nicknamed the Rain Man. Actually, if you can go down and like those YouTube links are different versions of 2 of my favorite. 2 of one of my favorite song with the same beat. But former Seattle Supersonics forward, has a lot of he had a lot of sex. Not a very handsome. This again proves that you don't have to be a handsome man to be able to pull chicks. You just gotta be accomplished. But Shawn Kemp was involved in a drive-by shooting. At almost 60 years old. Yeah. At some point you got to be like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna stay out of this. But much like this, but going into it, so a guy apparently, allegedly, so I know how. Yeah, Shawn Kemp is 53 years old, 6'10". Oh, he's still married. Oh wow, good for him. Large man, one of my favorite. Him and Deadlift Shrimp with the Supersonics and Gary Payton. I'm shocked they didn't anymore. Like they were cold blood. Love. When I was growing up in this world. But he got arrested. He went over to a car. Apparently, they call it a drive-by. You can't stop. The drive-bys are when you're literally driving and you're shooting. It's more of like a walk-by. Shawn came up, and the first story that came out was kind of piss poor. Like it did not paint the situation in a very good light, if you will. Make sure I pull up this. Tacoma Police Department just dropped this heater on us. And for whatever reason, my phone is going stupid slow. Anyways, at 1:58 p.m. Now this is what I love about it. On site, broad fucking daylight. At 1:58 p.m., an altercation between the occupants of 2 cars led to shots being fired at a parking lot in the 4500 block of South Steel Street. 1 car fled, no injuries were reported, a gun was recovered, and a 53-year-old male was booked for the drive-by shooting. Then Woj announced, according to Pierce Washington Corrections inmate listings, 6-time NBA All-Star Shawn Kemp and legendary member of the Seattle Seahawks has been booked in an alleged drive-by shooting. Then sources happen. Lauren Donovan, I think she's of the local KIRO7, Seattle, obviously a station. Wednesday night, he was booked. Everybody on social media went in on like, what, man, you too old. Everybody over here getting on the young man from Memphis, John Morant, and you over here acting like this, acting like a dude. And I'm like, I want to hear more details. I think the older I'm becoming, the more old white man male conservative I'm becoming. Let's wait till the video comes out. Can we just wait till we get more details? But I do this for everybody. The only thing about white, nobody was giving Shawn Kemp the benefit of the doubt. But Shawn Kemp and old athletes tend to like to deal with things the old way. One of the greatest songs by noted rapper from Naughty by Nature, Tretch. I do my dirt all by my lonely. Remember, O.J. Simpson went back to go get his stuff. And that's basically what is being reported that Shawn Kemp was doing. Late Tuesday evening, Shawn Kemp's vehicle was broken into and numerous items were stolen, including an iPhone, which thieves stopped stealing iPhones. They could track them even when they're dead now. On Thursday, Mr. Kemp tracked his iPhone to an occupied vehicle in a shopping mall parking lot in Tacoma. When Mr. Kemp approached the vehicle in an attempt to retrieve his stolen property, individuals inside the vehicle shot at Mr. Kemp, who then returned fire in self-defense. There was not a drive-by shooting as previously reported, and Mr. Kemp's actions were reasonable and legally justified. Mr. Kemp met with law enforcement at the scene and in an attempt to assist in the matter. Mr. Kemp has retained criminal attorneys to represent him and ensure that he is exonerated of all charges. And that's what I guess is Jay always says change and cool the cop, more important is lawyer fees. This is probably just his stand up on the go attorney. So that happened on Tuesday night, he got booked, stayed there for Wednesday. Anybody who's ever been arrested before or called in for questioning knows that you got to go in for a little bit and you got to turn yourself in, got to get processed, got to get booked. There's a lot of different things that happens. Well, this is what happened when Lauren dropped it. The prosecuting attorney's office is not filing charges against Mr. Kemp today. Keyword today. The case status will be no charges filed pending further investigation by the police, and Mr. Kemp will be released. The Rain Man is released, and that just when I was hearing that, I got filled. And even though one of the songs is by a guy who probably gave Rain Man hell in those guys back in the day, but Loose Ends has a song, but I actually like Shaq's version first. We can play Shaq's version. But you can't stop the rain.
Like the new edition. This is the end of your last night in the daytime. You couldn't see.
And anybody who remembers,
I crashed flights on sites of my
or if you watch BMF, Villa Lamar, this is what he goes with. I'm gonna go to
who wanna spark it with the chocolate macadamia, head clean to the cranium. You know the name, Shaq aim to maintain money on the brain. Can't stop
like that with Shaq. Shaq is the greatest NBA rapper of all time. All right, now we got to put Loose. You can hear the original version. Fast forward a little bit more. One of the things that that is noted in Black culture is HBCU culture. We're going to talk a little bit about college sports. We're going to go into some spring ball stuff here for FSU, Florida, and Miami fans. Everybody knows that. I'm just going to tell you like this because I love you guys. I've actually met with the most powerful woman in sports in the state of Florida, Angie, on Monday, and we were talking about she was up for the athletic director job at FAMU and ended up not getting it. And we were just talking about HBCUs in general. Y'all sold y'all booty out for Dion. So let's just don't hate me. That's just what you did. And now Dion every other week is doing a podcast. Y'all fuck Dion, but y'all didn't want to listen to us. But the reality is this: the best is approaching this. Now, FAMU stays in the news for everything but winning right now. But if y'all can win games, this will make the most sense. Now, so they just offered Blaze, an 11-year-old from the Atlanta area, his first scholarship. But a guy who has been telling FAMU, I'm about FAMU since forever, man, is Chad Johnson, Chad OchoCinco. And I think this is probably the best route that you should go with as opposed to giving unqualified people head coaching jobs. Find brand ambassadors. And FAMU, and you can pay them a little bit. They don't need a lot. Pay them a little bit. But FAMU has brought Chad Johnson, Chad OchoCinco. The tweet is, welcome Chad OchoCinco Johnson, Rattler Nation. Join us and welcome him to FAMU. VP Athletic Director Tiffany Sykes announced OchoCinco to serve as an athletics ambassador and consultant for FAMU. And that's dope. You gave him a title. You hopefully he gets compensated, at least comes to the games for free. He's also part of one of the most popular podcasts. He has a very, very active social media. Every time that he's there, you get a chance FAMU gets a chance to be broadcast and put into the homes of people who would never normally get a chance to be able to see them consistently. I think all HBCUs should find something and just let those guys do their thug dizzle. Let them represent the university. Let them talk about the university. Let them do what's necessary. I personally think that's awesome. Chad Johnson's a great ambassador. He outside of the little bit of trouble that he got in with the stupid bitch from Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever, or Basketball Wives, maybe it was one of them too, but he's really stayed off the beaten path. He's getting married. He's with a chick consistently. He's got a ton of kids, but he seems to be active as a dad. I like it. I would like to be an ambassador for FAMU, but I don't think I'm famous enough. I don't know. I mean, if y'all paying, I'd volunteer myself. HBCUs. I like HBCU sports. Anybody need me? Let me say that. Let me stop. Not anybody. Because there's a lot of HBCUs in 2 states that I just refuse to go to. It's Alabama and Mississippi. I am not Dion. God did not call me to come there and give up 50 acres and a mule to come hang out with y'all. But if you're in Georgia, Florida, North Carolina Central, I kind of fuck with y'all. I like y'all colors. Let me know. But I think that's the way you do it. That way, nothing really gets fucked up. You don't have people saying they're still in our culture, blah, blah, blah. And Chad Johnson doesn't really have a school to represent him. He was at Oregon State for a semester before he bounced. Go listen to his full interview on Club Shay Shay, and it's really impressive how he made it out. It made me like his story even more. Bud Elliott dropped now it looks like a child made this graphic, but Bud Elliott dropped his transfer class rankings. And I agree with Bud. Bud actually came and did his thing with his analytics. Hey, here's how I rank the college football transfer classes. Mine puts an emphasis on impact players. How would you have it? And that's great. I love how he just opened the dialogue. Yeah, how do you see it? Here I am with my brains, and I've done all the work. But what do you think? But that was smooth as shit. I ain't even gonna lie, dog. That's a way to get engagement. Now, the other way Bud is gonna get engagement is by all the people who suck on the teat of Deion Sanders and everything that he does, because Colorado has the #1 ranked transfer class. He put Colorado ass at 10, saying y'all ain't got nobody that's making no goddamn impact. Y'all got all these transfers because your team sucked, but ain't none of these guys going to do anything to make your team better. And he dropped the mic. He has LSU at #1, FSU at #2, Auburn at #3, USC at 4, UCLA at 5, Miami at 6, Ole Miss at should be a tie for 7, but he has Ole Miss and Michigan tied for 8, Oregon at 9, Colorado at 10. 1 and 2 really close, 3 and 4 really close, 5 through 8 really close. Also, I think what Colorado, Nebraska, and Arizona State did is perfect for those programs' needs. It's not a knock on the classes, but the other teams in this list would say no thanks to like 70 to 80% of the guys on their list. They needed the volume. He said, I had FSU first for a lot of the cycle before the last few commits. And that's what those are some of the comments, the additional comments to the tweet that Bud Elliott, who is a member of Nolecast, stated. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of agree. I don't know much about LSU's class. So I guess I could just look at LSU's transfer class. Let's look at LSU's transfer class. So this has their enrollees, which they just recruit better in general than FSU. Okay, here we go. They got a guy who's ranked as a 4-star linebacker, Omar Spites, who's pretty good from Oregon State, comes in. They got a cornerback from Ohio State, J.K. Johnson, who's a 4-star. Deuce Chestnut, a 4-star transfer from Syracuse. Zy Alexander from somewhere, he's a 4-star transfer. Jordan Jefferson from West Virginia. Denver Harris at corner. They got a kid from Florida that, he was a 4-star coming out of high school. All right, when I'm looking at the quality, undersized wide receiver 5'9", Aaron Anderson from Alabama transferring over there. I'm not overly mad at his at why he says that they're potentially their number one. Now I'm gonna look at Florida State and LSU. Actually, just for transparency, LSU is ranked 2nd per 247 in the transfer rank, and Florida State's ranked 3rd. And I'm going to go to Florida State has 9 transfers. Gilbert Edmond, who's a 4-star transfer. Keandre Jones, who was a 4-star in high school. Fentrell Cypress, a 4-star transfer. Brandon Fisk, a 4-star transfer. Jeremiah Byers, I might even pay attention to him. I got to go see which one that was. He's a 4-star transfer from UTEP. Casey Roddick. Kyle Morlock, a 4-star transfer. Jaheim Bell, a 4-star transfer. And Darrell Jackson was a 4-star transfer. But when you look at the impact, we've seen Darrell Jackson from the University of Miami. He looks to be a guy who's not going to be a starter, but will make an immediate impact. Jaheim Bell, starter, immediate impact. Kyle Morlock, more next year will be an immediate impact. Casey Roddick, diesel. Jeremiah Byers, I didn't get a chance to see him. Brandon Fisk will be a starter. Fentrell Cypress will more than likely be a starter. Keandre Jones, I'm sorry, this is the kid I told you I look like Suge Knight. More than likely, not Suge Knight, excuse me. Tukey Williams, he'll more than likely be a starter. Gilbert Edmonds, I think he'll be a starter. He has how many years is he? He's a junior, so he's got 2 to probably 3 to play 2. It just really all depends on what Derek McMillan does. D-Mac depends on Patrick Payton, but Patrick Payton's more the Jared Verse type defensive end. I'm curious. I can't really tell you guys a lot of these things until I go see him in pads, see him clank a little bit. Everybody looks good in t-shirts and shorts. I gotta see what these boys look like when the pressure's on. It's a different world, man. I'm telling you, and it doesn't matter what year you are, and I'm not suggesting that guys are punks because for any reason at all, but guys, man, when them shoulder pads come on, it's the wild, wild west out there. And it's a lot of violence that goes down with that. So yeah, I don't really know what to tell y'all on that one, but like I gotta judge men based upon what happens in wartime situations. But it was really, really good. So a lot of hype with no substance. Pretty sure. Let me go see who they have as the number one overall transfer class. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure it's those guys down. No, it's Colorado. So it's Colorado, LSU. Basically, he just took Colorado, moved them down to 10. SMU's entire transfer class came from fucking Miami. Miami's at 12. So all hype, no substance. But Miles, if you go look at there's two pictures that I put on that thing first before we get to that thing right there. Yeah, that one. That's the first one. So University of Florida and Miami are going hard right now. Hard at work. This is where you make your gains and your losses. They said that this young man had made a lot of losses. Looks like Sherman Klump's ass is getting gains. This kid was 450 pounds last season, or when he came in. Forever. I don't believe he ever ran a 40. I don't believe this kid can run gassers. This is not me picking on this young man. This is dangerous. This young man is I am grateful for what the University of Florida is doing and letting this young man play sports. Because if he didn't, he'd be on my 600-pound life. The best thing they could do for this young man is let him work out, eat a little bit less at the training table. Like, it's not their fault. It's his parents. They failed him. Like, God damn, that's a big motherfucker. Like, that is, like, no. It's only one way to get that fat in life is to give up hope. But apparently he's really, really good. Florida is going around posting up videos of fat motherfuckers and dropping passes and quarterbacks that can't throw on in rhythm. And if you're happy with that, that's the way your life is good, then man, bless you. Live your life, man. Like, God, I am no longer in this world where I have to be mad at other people for living their best lives. You enjoy that shit. I'm sorry.
Someone said, James, what about our kicker this year?
Hey,
for FSU?
Why you bringing up old shit?
He wants to know if it's his senior year or is he gone?
No, this is his last year, but we brought in some guys to compete with him. So, and in the 2024 class, we have the number one kicker in the nation. That's a part of it. So, Fitz, yeah, we gotta give Fitz props, man. Fitz came through in the bowl game. He had a stretch where it was really, really bad. But I think if you notice, once we came with the thing, get Fitz some tits. Once we really got that, everything was kind of encouraging. So we have to be encouraging of our guys who aren't playing to the level in which we need them to play. Because yes, Fitz did lose us at least 2 games, 2 of those 3 games. But hey, that's why you don't rely on kickers. 2 things you don't need to rely on: kickers and fucking referees. If you do what you're supposed to do, you'll never need those guys. But there will be more competition. Hopefully our office will open up to where we don't really need that per se. But you need him to do his job. So who knows? But yeah, so that's but we're gonna get into Florida State, but just wanted to show you guys what Florida's strength and conditioning staff is doing a great job on. Miami's biggest spring update that's coming out of their camp right now is what the fuck John Ruiz wants to be called. Is he a booster? Is he just a guy who likes to get Miami put on probation for a lot of things? Is he a clown? He might be all 3 of those things. Multiple things could be true at the same time. But notable clown and fake billionaire John Ruiz and Lion Ass Cuban John Ruiz is suing the NCAA for saying that he's a booster, knowing that there's numerous texts and tweets that state that he is a booster. He even got into it with somebody. He loves to jump in inboxes and talk about people and say that they're miserable and blah 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 yakety schmackety. I don't. I questioned if he was a real attorney the other day because I don't think he knows how this stuff works. And you're like, James, why do you say that? Why? What do you mean he doesn't know how this thing works? And let me go find, because I'm gonna talk about my dog Beast and Snow Cone sometimes because he's a little bit it's a little sensitive at times.
We got some new people here and can go over some old terms, but do you have a specific definition of a booster?
Okay. I don't want to give you my definition. And yes, basically, but okay, my definition is basically a booster is somebody formally or informally that donates money to the school, not to the university, but to the university's athletic department. So technically, if you have season tickets, you're a booster. Regardless of you might not be the highest level booster, but you have to be a booster to typically get season tickets at schools. Boosters referred to by the NCAA as representatives of the institution's athletic interest. Ooh, that is a very vague statement. Provided bullet. This is per November 27th, 2013. This provided donation in order to obtain season tickets, like I just said, participated in or has been a member of an organization promoting the university's athletic program. So like if you're Jacksonville Seminole Booster Club, you may not be a booster of FSU. You are a booster, though, because you're participating in their club. Made financial contributions to an athletic department or a university booster organization. Arranged for or provided employment for enrolled student athletes. Holy shit, had no clue about that. So if you got a kid a job, by golly, you consider a booster now. Assisted or has been requested by the university staff to assist in the recruitment of a prospective student athlete. Assisted in providing benefits to enrolled student athletes or their families. Been involved otherwise in promoting university athletics. Once an individual is identified as a representative of the institution's athletic interest, that person, now this is where it's key, the person retains that identity forever. Forever. Just like if you ever watched The Sandlot. Yeah. So I don't really know if John is smart enough, or so it's not smart because I don't want to question it. Because the people who lie a lot typically lie to make their lies liar. I don't even know if that's the right way to say that. Make their lies more viable. So John is really just out here lying and capping. And just the thing is it's kind of what people say when a man gets caught cheating. Don't stop. Stay low. Keep firing. Don't stop until they really have the smoking gun. And even when they do have the smoking gun, deny. But the problem is when you got to go in front of a judge and when you're initiating it, and there's a rumor that the NCAA is going to sue John Ruiz for defamation and for a lot of other shit. There's this thing called discovery. And I don't think John knows that. It's not, you don't just get to sue me and that's it. A lot of people are afraid of lawsuits, but the NCAA is not. You sue me, I accept it. It's kind of like you go up to somebody, like you go, pop, I challenge you to a duel, or you think that they're going to punk out. And they say, okay, I like that shit. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. That's basically what they're going to say. And what they're going to do is, I just want to put this up. So, LifeWide Pete Nakos Life Wallet CEO John Ruiz told On3 he plans to sue the NCAA in the next 10 business days for classifying him as a booster. The NCAA did not respond to a request for comment. A law expert told On3 the case could call for a declaratory judgment, meaning that somebody's going to basically say what the fuck you is and what you ain't. Now, the legal term disclosure, and this is what's going to happen, refers to the portion of litigation process where each party in the suit is required to disclose any documents that may be considered relevant to the case going to court. This stage normally occurs after each party has made their initial statement in the case, meaning that this is discovery, this is all these different things, meaning like, yo, you call me to the carpet, I want to know. Like, that's why I always say when people are like, oh, he's going to sue you, he's going to, please. I got specific questions. There's specific athletes that I want to specifically know what y'all talked about. And no judge is going to turn that down. And if you don't give me that information, you can be held in contempt. Or we can find legal people that can go scrub your computers and do all of these different things. And then that just costs you more money. And like that, nobody's going to turn that down because they know that you kind of got money. Like you're not. And what happens is when you, I had to explain this to my old partner with Mikanopi, because he was going around saying, I'll just sue you. Ha, looks like they have more money than me. I'm going to sue you. Like, bro, you do realize if you lose, you have to pay the person's legal fees. Nobody's going to pay their legal fees. Nobody likes them like that. Like, nah, partner. I don't think you realize how this works. Lawyers do pro bono shit all the time, knowing that they gonna hit somebody over the head with these fees. That's why you can't sue people frivolously. But outside of some stiff ass hip movement DB drills, that's all that Miami really got going on. I can show you that, but the guys suck. Shout out to Mike Norvell though for giving $1 million to Seminole Boosters and toward facilities and the Bowden Society. They're the 300th member where the money directly goes to the football program. Kind of wish it wasn't called the Bowden Society because the way our booster kind of fucked Bobby over at the end. But Bobby was a true Nolan through and through. I love them. Still love my university. That was their business. Shit happens. They fucked me over. Some people in the university fuck me over from time to time. Still love the overall university. But the reason why Snow Cone is talked about in this is because there's a lot of good things, and they post these things talking about guys that have made gains. Clearly, we see that Florida's defensive lineman has made gains. We needed to lose some gains, needed to lose some of those, but he's made gains. Notable things, like we've got Darryl Jackson. Darryl Jackson is a huge man, large mammal from Miami. Fisk is a large mammal. We got bigger across the D line. Our defensive ends have gotten bigger. A whole bunch of other different things have happened. Our linebackers, Tatum Bethune, has gotten thicker. Kalen DeLoach, little bro, is talking about playing at 220. He was at 200. He was at 200 last year. Yeah, flying around the way. And I'm going to explain a little bit about how the game has changed. So, I'm telling you this because guys have gotten bigger, right? They are literally getting bigger. So to title your dissertation about Florida State's defense moving into the next phase of what Coach Fuller is doing, nobody's a bigger Coach Fuller fan than the Colemans. We love Coach Fuller. Is a bit misleading, disingenuous, if you will. Smaller on defense is the way that they led. Now, again, I'm not telling you anything that's not researchable. The same publication that he writes for literally puts the gains of the defense. Now, what he means though is that traditionally football has been played with your 4-3 or your 4-4 schemes. That means you have 4 down linemen, you have 3 linebackers, or you have 2 linebackers. Basically, what we run right now at Florida State is a 4-2-5. If you really take it back and you decipher it, it's really nothing more than a 4-4. We at times. But we also run a variation of the 3-4 at times. What we run is a multiple defensive front based upon what the opponent is that we're going up against. Now, if we're talking about a traditional 4-3 defense, we have gotten smaller. But if you go and you listen to it, and trust me, it's really, really good. Speaks with confidence. I just have some specific arguments that really destroy and unravel his entire argument that I'm not going to go up against. But the reality is he talks about how Florida State has a safety there and how basically the third linebacker is more of a safety right now. And when they first got there, they tried to put Amari Gaynor and Kalen DeLoach there, and they ended up putting somebody smaller there because of this. But the reality is we've had a guy play this because we ran a 4-2-5 under Jimbo. Do you know what those guys' names were? One by Derwin James. Hamza Nazarene would have ran that very well had he not gotten hurt. And these are all guys that are way bigger than the guys we currently have in those positions. Jamie Robinson was able to play that. They used to call it a rover back in the day. And you're just a little bit more stout in the running game, and you can cover. But it doesn't mean the defense is getting smaller. It means the defense is taking away a traditionally bigger piece to go over there. But if you look at what our secondary is and some of the guys are going to play it, they're all over too. This to put it in perspective, Jamie Robinson weighed in at the combine at, I believe, 195 pounds. Kalen DeLoach played most of last season at 200. We didn't really get that much smaller. Practically the fucking same. Now, to what Miles was talking about is, can you play linebacker at that size? One, even when I played, linebackers varied between 200 pounds to 250. And the 250-pound linebackers were typically 6'3" to 6'5". They were bigger guys. Once the 3-4 became more prevalent, people shifted to having them be what we call outside edge rushers, which is what Amari Gaynor did in high school and what Amari Gaynor will probably go and do at North Carolina. Now, the guys who were closer to 200 pounds were a little bit stockier and shorter and closer to the ground. Like my guy got arrested dead, Geno Hayes, was about 2. I think that most he played at was 215, but Geno was about 6 foot 6'1", and a motherfucker could hit like a brick house. When you look at what Tatum Bethune and Kalen are, they're right at that 6 foot 6'1" range, so they're stockier. You can't play, and then the way the defense is, those are your guys that are playing interior. You also need them to be more fluid. The other thing that people don't take into account, because again, Derwin James played at 235, played that same position, and is killing it in the NFL. But he has fluid hips. He's very athletic. He can cover. There are people who can be 200 pounds and can't fucking cover.
Right.
Like we just joked about Miami's defense. None of the cornerbacks that Miami brought in looked like they could cover. Doesn't matter your size. It matters your athleticism and your skill set. Now, we can say generally that these things happen better with this position group, but the reality is what's different about what Coach Fuller's doing now, and on the same thing can be said on the offensive side, is that now you have pieces that you were able to recruit for your system that are perfect for your system. It's a completely different type of thing going on. Before you had to take, you're trying to take square pegs and fit them in round holes. Now you're just trying to take round pegs and put them in a round hole. That's why I joke with people all the time. Oh, Fuller's not good. Well, he's improved because he's got better players. That's why I don't understand why everybody wants to fire my guy. My guy's system's fucking working. You just got to keep getting, as a coaching term, the only way it could have ran better is if I would have ran it myself. But again, smaller on defense. This is why, and I don't blame him. I blame The 24-hour news cycle and the fact that people feel like they have to. We just have to continue to push shit out. I have to be an expert. You don't have to be anything. I don't talk about shit that I don't know about. One thing I do know about is when shit ain't adding up, you got to start subtracting. There was, over the weekend, history was made. Everybody went ham on 4 people who came from South Carolina to go to Mexico, and apparently were kidnapped, and they were going for a tummy tuck. 3 black men and a black woman went to Mexico. I'm sorry, black women, white women, whoever, like, don't come, like, if you're not feeling good about yourself, like, don't come asking me to come risk my life to come hang out with you, go get a goddamn tummy tuck. That shit's not happening. You go to the DR, they ain't got. I've watched enough Narcos to know that I don't really want to fuck with Mexico. That like ain't like the resort Mexico. I've never woken up and just said, man, I gotta go to. I've got to go get some fresh empanadas, or what do they do? Or some tacos. Like, it's cool. I've been to Mexico once. I went to Cozumel. I stayed on the tourist part. I didn't go out of my way. We were on a boat. I've read stories about people who go and they want to go off the beaten path. They want to go explore, and then they get their asses robbed. The last thing I want to do is be in a jail or be held captive in a language that I don't speak by a bunch of very, very small, violent people, because they're all tiny and violent. I don't know why. It seems so angry. But the first thing that I thought was like, again, as I talked about John Ruiz the other day, something's not crunchy in the cocone or in the cocon. Something's not right. And Lil Duval got ripped because he said, man, bullshit, y'all was going down there to sell drugs. To find out that they were mistakenly killed because they thought that they were there for a drug deal, which makes it worse. I don't want to get killed on accident. Yeah. People got tortured, beat up. 2 people are dead. 2 people were brutally abused, and then the cartel did something that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I was driving back from Tallahassee after the practice, listening to conservative talk radio, because for whatever reason, 93.3 in Tallahassee, the station I used to come on, is like podunk worst take. There's nothing wrong with being conservative. I'm conservative, but this is KKK radio. And they had one of my favorite politicians, man, I can't even think of his name, retired lieutenant colonel. He was a senator, and he was in the army. Alan West. That's Alan West. And he was talking about, we got to go out here and get it. I didn't know who the people were at first when he was talking about this. Didn't know what the fuck happened. I just knew these were white people. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I fucked up now, man. Now Biden got to do some shit. And I'm sorry. When I found out it was 4 black people from South Carolina, I said, too bad, Negroes. Shouldn't have took your ass from South Carolina. Should have went to the fucking Dominican like everybody else. But they were challenging everybody, and I'm like, man, if they got to check, because I thought these were white people. So if they keep challenging Biden, this ain't gonna go well for the Vatos. But I also know the only way that the United States would lose or have a struggle in a world war, which it seems like we're trying to be set up for, is if somebody found a way to be able to infiltrate North America. But we cool. Like, Mexico and Canada ain't doing that shit. But if you go to war with Mexico over some dumb shit, now they have a way to get in here. But then I read that apparently the Mexican cartel has a fucking HR department.
What?
Mexican cartel apologizes and turns over the 5 men they say are responsible for kidnapping Americans. They found the two living Americans and they gave them up. But just think, the cartel literally said, "Nah, man, y'all fucked up. Y'all gotta go." And this is what the cartel's HR department said: We have decided to turn over those who are directly involved and responsible in the events, who at all times acted under their own decision making and lack of discipline. The letter reads, adding that those individuals had gone against the cartel's rules, which include respecting life and well-being of the innocent.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I've never seen any kind of cartel movie end this way. There's no, I mean, they kidnap motherfuckers. They kidnap people and offer ransoms. And people, so I put, and I saw this guy say, the guy tweeted, the drug cartel has a greater ethical barometer than police departments. Police departments kill people on accident all the time. And the first thing they say was, well, they should have just complied. Didn't do it the right way. I can't ponder a world where criminals like treat American citizens better than American citizens treat American citizens.
Well, it's a business move too, right? They got to worry about the nightlife there, which is drug life, which is supported by, I'm guessing, tourism and
people die every day there. This didn't happen in Cozumel, Mexico City, Tulum, or any of the major tourist spots. This is off the beaten path. Somebody put, well, they couldn't see the whole wrath of the army. Watch Narcos. They fight the fucking army every day. They kill DEA. They don't care. And I'm still saying, like, okay, I get, even if that's true, right? I get that. We literally saw, what was it? We have literally seen police officers shoot unarmed people, black and white, over cameras and false movements. And people will literally say they did no wrong. The police department would not even issue a true apology. The only time we've seen the police department do it was when 5 black dudes beat the shit out of that one dude the other day. And it was like, Blue Lives Matter, but kind of dark. You know what I'm saying? you're going to the pokey. The cartel said, "Hey man, nah, fuck that bitch. Y'all ass is going to die. We got real shit. We got real shit to deal with."
Yeah.
They turned them motherfuckers over so quick. I love it, man. It was awesome. But I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. Like, wait a minute. Let me rephrase this. I believe the cartel handed over those people. I don't believe the cartel handed over the 5 people who are responsible for this shit. And I don't, but other than that, man, it's just, it's a little funny, but I still believe, one of the things I believe is that, what my man say? I'm ignorant. I was just speeding as yeah, but that's not, I mean, come on, like, never mind, whatever. I like Mexicans. I'm going to eat some fucking Mexican food today, man. I'm going to eat some refried beans and some tacos.
I think Mexicans overrated.
That's basically what, but that is true. Do Spanish people eat vegetables? Like just a straight vegetable. It's got to be somewhere, right? I just don't ever eat it. I literally have to say, Grandma, Grandma, I have to have something green. There's got to be something green here. But in the continuing thing, again, not a relationship show, but I love to expose idiosyncrasies in the relationships in different communities. And then what we do is we find a commonality between everybody. I've always stated this. I actually told my friend that misogyny doesn't exist. Misogyny is a buzzword.
Go on.
If, for something to exist, there has to be a counter to it, right? there is no, what is the female version of misogyny? So what it seems like is something to push something. But and also, if misogyny did exist, and if it does, and it's so bad, then you should fight all aspects of it. So you'll see women talk about chivalry, right? Chivalry in itself is a misogynistic concept. It is literally stating that I need to sacrifice what I'm doing to put myself in front of you because you're lesser than. You're the fairer of the sexes. It's why we can see Jada Pinkett Smith can go on Red Table Talk and they can discuss about how it's okay for an older woman to be able to groom and go and get a younger man, but the flip is considered weird and nasty. Again, I personally don't care. I always joke with people. When I was 14 years old, I knew exactly what the fuck I was doing. You didn't need to groom me. Now, you might have got me better at some aspects, but at the end of the day, I knew I liked vagina. And older vagina was better than younger vagina. So I chose older vagina. Sorry. It's just sorry, mom, if you're watching this. It's the reality. It's what I patterned my life for. But what does exist is toxic, and there are people who are inherently evil, who will manipulate and will use things to better their interest. That could be a man or a woman. It does not matter. It is not overly just on one side. Just like though in the current constructs, we have a lot of Caucasians that have done some really, really bad things in this world. That does not mean that doesn't mean you're inherently evil if you're Caucasian. Just like people can use statistics to say that black people commit more violence. It does not mean that black people are inherently more evil. These are things that are used as buzzwords to be able to divide and conquer. But I will say this, misogyny and people say men are homophobic. We just talked about in the beginning of the show about how there are men who make jokes about their dicks and everything like that. And it's not my flavor, but I know a lot of people who do. But what I will say is there's nobody more not misogynistic. There's nobody more homophobic than the African-American female.
Yeah, for sure. Easy.
We joke about, because at least on the level of this with men. If the girl was a lesbian, she would be more than welcome back to be with the heterosexual male culture, because everybody loves a lesbian. If a man, but a man does not get to be bi. And I'm not here to argue that they should or that they shouldn't. I'm just telling you. But one of the things that was great about this video is that women will go and literally call everything that you do as a man gay. And like it's such a thing like now that they can't do. But I will say this, the younger generation is being considered sassier and all these different things because they're not putting up with your shit anymore. And now you're getting upset with that, or they're telling you the truth. And if you get I feel bad for the young men, but actually no, I don't. I'm gonna tell my sons that the same thing my mother told me. A masculine man would never go out of style. They just want the sassy ones now, but wait until somebody kicks down that door. The one thing they're going to want is some toxic masculinity. That's going to equate. I think one of the movies was, are we bad men? And the guy says, it's Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. And Woody Harrelson asked Matthew, he's like, is it wrong that we're bad men? And what he says is, no, the world needs bad men to protect them from the other bad men. But go ahead and play that video with these young chickens, because that's what they are. We used to call them chicken heads back in my day. I don't know what they call them now. Skeezers? Not skeezers. Skeezers is a great old word. This skeezers and scallywags. But play what these skeezers and scallywags had to say. So there's just saying basically they don't want to do any of this thing. But like if my man
that's their list?
No, but what happens is the thing that people are doing now They do it for the names that you can call white. The names you can call white people is like up to like 1,000. It's awesome. But like they're making a list of things that you can't. That if you don't do, you're gay. And these like this is just a list. Like be under 30, have plaid bed sheets, sip coffee, drink through straws, eat the like order appetizers was one of them, and desserts. I'm like, bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of here, I order dessert first sometimes. Like so I can make sure I enjoy like there's like yeah, like it's what they say is but it's really just a wild world in here. But yeah, I don't it's
how to beat men like like you don't know.
don't they always say why you in woman's business? But nobody likes to be in somebody else's business more than a woman. It used to irk me. My sister would try to get in arguments with me and would be like, be a man. Like, bitch, what the fuck do you know about being a man?
That's so triggering.
It's like that's the only thing. I was like, bitch, what the fuck you know about being a man? Not a goddamn thing. I ain't telling you to be. What if I told you be a woman and shut the fuck up? Like that would be misogynistic. That would be toxic. But again, it's just nobody talks about how. That's why I go around now. It's a tongue-in-cheek joke. I call all my women friends. Say you guys are toxic, and I tell them, and they don't even realize that they're doing all the things that they hate that men do. He can't be talking to me and other women. Bitch, you got 5 dudes that I just seen you with. Why would I not talk to another woman? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're literally doing what you don't want to be done to you because you're afraid to get hurt. And that's really what it just comes down to. It goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show. How many bodies is too many bodies? Is 50 bodies a lot? And the reality of the situation is most people don't even get close to 50 bodies, but the people that everybody wants to fuck are the ones who have 50 bodies. So like it's you and your choices. The vast majority of men ain't even having sex. Are broke. Well, not broke, but like our paycheck to paycheck. Like because most people don't make over $50,000 a year, and the world is getting more expensive. That's why I tell my friends just cheat. Don't leave. Rent's too high. Like you leave, you better be making $200,000 so that you can live comfortably because you're gonna have to pay child support, man or woman. But I'm gonna leave it like this again. If you can go play that Facebook reel, this is some good advice by a man who's actually very fun to hang out with, but's been in a lot of trouble. Not like violent trouble, but like just bullshit trouble. Warren Sapp. And Warren Sapp gives some really good life advice. If you'll heed to it. And he got it from an all-time GOAT in Tony Dungy. Now, one thing I will say this, I don't like black men who don't have facial hair. I don't trust my sons because they don't have mustaches yet. But you gotta really, if you look at all of the different things, from the trouble that Shawn Kemp got in, the trouble that John Morant got in, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan right now and you're covering your wide receiver, Jamar Chase, the trouble that he's getting in right now with his former baby mama, black bitches calling you sassy, all these different problems that are in here, lying ass Cubans. I don't know how that's going to, probably not going to help him, but all of the issues all boil down to these things. And if you can heed these things, you will stay out of trouble for the rest of your life. I wish I had Biggie's 10 crack commandments that could be played behind this, but like these are the 5 rules for you to live life. And I want y'all to pay attention to this, give this to the young athlete in your life, young male in your life, and you will they'll flourish. Learn from guys who have been in trouble. you heed to those things. Like even with Michael Irvin, but he just got exonerated of basically. He about to sue the fuck out of that bitch, which I'm so grateful. That's what men. It's time to fight back. Fight fire with fire. We live in a misogynist society, so we need equality. I'm not getting into no back and fro with a woman. You come and you bring me harm and toxicity, I'm bringing you jail time. What's it say?
Cheaper to keep it.
Listen, man, bro. This isn't just for men. I talk to many women are dissatisfied. And I just tell them, just cheat in peace. Let him cheat in peace. If they're not verbally abusing you or physically abusing you, it costs. I think they just did the numbers. Like a 1-bedroom is like $1,200 to $2,500. Like I looked at the kind of house that I got right now, $3,500 a month. Unless you're living in the projects, then you got a whole new set of problems. I mean, what he won't do, another person will. No, they won't. No, they won't, because you said that 25 times. Clearly, it's you. Or, you know, I just want people to be successful, and I'm just telling you, it's not as good as you think. But if you stay true to those 5 things that Warren Sapp says, life will probably be good for you. On that note, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay safe out here, please. We didn't hit our where are we at? We got a couple new subs. We'll do this again on Monday. We got to 1723. So whatever that, what's that number? That means we need 200. I will give out $277 if we reach 2,000 subs by Monday. So just tell a friend to tell a friend. Click that like button, click the subscribe button, click the alert. If you're curious and being a member, starts at $3.99 all the way up to $99.99. I appreciate you guys. And on that note, we will chop it up with y'all later.